I was getting distracted.
Did y'all see the post that I posted on our page with the pictures? I love this picture of us. Like the lights, I just think that's so cute.
It's official.
I know, we're so cute.
I'm very, very cute.
You're very cute.
Good morning. Hope you're doing really well today as we truck along getting ready to enter the Easter weekend. And again, we've got Good Friday today. We had a good time last night. Want to shout out to Potosi Live. Appreciate Moy and Chris coming to see us yesterday out at Mulligan's. And so they announced their summer jam coming up. Want to give a shout out to them as they've got their summer jam coming. It's going to be Giovanni and the Hired Guns. They've got Clint Black and Wade Bowen. A couple other events they do have. We'll talk more. Cinco de Mayo, they got Rick Trevino, the Kentucky Headhunters on May 11th. Billy Joel, Piano Man, Tribute Band. Mike Ryan, June 9th. And again, they've got their summer jam coming up in June. Giovanni and the Hired Guns, Clint Black, and Wade Bowen, some of the headliners for that event. So be sure you get your tickets for that. They always do a really good job of putting on events, and it's a lot of fun. So be sure you get over and get those taken care of. As we keep looking for a couple things, Josh, what was your favorite thing about our first show, our primetime show?
Well, my favorite thing is the fact that it didn't fly like a lead balloon. Obviously, when you do anything different, you want it to be successful, and there's always the I guess back of your mind thing is like, what if no one comes?
Yeah.
Be really melodramatic. I was like kidding last night. I was like, we came in here just like three of the norms sitting over in the corner, like, what are these idiots talking about? But no, quite the opposite. It truly was standing room only. They didn't have enough seats, which is a good problem to have, I guess.
And we appreciate Kyle and him creating that room for folks. And again, we appreciate everybody coming out last night. And appreciate you. We don't ever take you for granted, those that are listening on Friday mornings, whether you're listening on your way to work, again at klgd1069.com. You're downloading the podcast, watching us on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. Go like the YouTube channel as well. We appreciate you doing that. We've got a great following on Facebook. Do the same thing on our YouTube channel. But that was what was enjoyable last night, and the interaction of people. And you mentioned the person that told you, and I think he was telling me that they were telling us that we were number one.
Yeah.
Which was great. We are the number one sports radio show in town. But it was cool seeing heads nod when we would say something, or shaking their head when they thought we were not correct.
One thing I love too, you mentioned Moy, Potosi Live, Mulligan's, a similar type place, and I love that they are friends and they support each other's events, Kyle and Moy, and I just think, I don't know.
And I think that's the way businesses have got to work. If you try to
because you would consider them competitors,
but I love that you would never know that.
Sphere.
But you would never know that because Kyle supports Moy and Moy supports Kyle. So it's just great. I love the camaraderie last night and everybody coming together to support us. It was very encouraging.
It was a lot of fun. And one of the things that we did is we educated them last night on some knowing is half the battle. You can probably catch it back on our Facebook Live from last night, but it is time for Josh's moment to make us all a little bit better for the weekend.
And knowing is half the battle.
All right. Earlier we talked about the event last night and how I thought the name of the event sounded too formal, and there were actually a couple people that were way overdressed. I assume they just came from work. I mean, I don't know, or
maybe they took the invite serious.
Yes, but there are couple people wearing sport coats, and maybe that's just their normal night out on the town attire. But
that was their Thursday outfit.
Yeah, dumb it down a little bit for happy hour, like, but
Should it be happy hour with the Hodge Pack?
I don't know. That sounds more apropos, I guess.
But then it sounds like, well, are we just going to be having
But it's
lots
for-
of bevies?
yeah.
I don't know. So, it's tough. It's a tough call.
Well, that just leads me on a whole nother thing. Like when some places have like happy hour all day, well, then that kind of blows it, doesn't it?
It's happy hours. That's
Like,
plural.
if it's happy hour all day, like that's just your normal prices.
Yeah.
Like okay.
If it's so special, leave it on the menu.
Yeah, exactly.
So I digress, as I generally do digress. But what that made me think about is like when you see an invitation to somewhere, a lot of times when you are going to an event, especially those of us that are married, the first thing that comes up is like, what is the attire for said event? Okay. Now, a lot of times that is kind of like left to your general, like, I don't know. It doesn't say, you don't know. Then other times there are very like distinct things, it'll say like cocktail attire or, like
Business casual.
business casual things that when you hear those things, you know what you're supposed to wear. It's pretty much outlined. If you go to like a black tie event, you've got to put on a tuxedo, which I don't normally do. I do own one though. I mean, I wear it on occasion.
Country chic.
Country chic. That gets into where I'm like, what? Like
That's when the texts start flying.
like what exactly does that mean? Like
Well,
like-
it is the time where guys become similar to girls and start asking, "What
Yeah,
are you wearing?"
Or people that text me, what is Clay wearing?
right.
And like I think I've talked to not Tracy because Tracy is I would consider a fashionista, but like Leanne and I are kind of on the same level, so we'll text each other like, "What are you wearing tonight?" So
Yep. And so I was thinking about that. There are several different, I guess attires that I've seen on invitations. Country chic is one of them. And then there's another that I saw recently that was like, it wasn't business casual, but it was like something similar to that made me think, what does that really mean? Now it just went blank on it. Like when I'm
Like sometimes they just say evening casual.
evening casual is one, but then like what evening is like you're supposed to wear like a gown and a suit, but then how do you unbutton my top
Sunday
button?
best.
Yeah, Sunday
dress.
best,
But
Sunday dress.
People are wearing shorts to church nowadays,
Yeah.
depending on where you go to
Well,
church.
and
all
So-
of that leads to just my like I have a general disdain for confusing dress codes, like where you don't know, because there is there are two obvious extremes to confusing dress code. One, you go way overdressed and feel like an idiot, and the other is you go way overdressed and you feel like an idiot. Like I did one time, and this was not the fault of the invitee. I just did not read enough, I guess, but I wore a suit and tie to something that was not suit and tie, and I truly was like, I feel like an idiot. But at that point, you just got to roll with it.
But you'd rather be overdressed
rather be
than
100%.
underdressed.
so that happened to us.
Oh,
And we got invited to it was the Air Force Ball for Dias, and it was at the Civic Center, Convention Center, whatever you call it today. And
What do you call it today?
I didn't catch it in the attire. And Tracy wore something black, which she was fine, but it wasn't what she would wanted when we get there. So I get there and I'm in khakis, shirt and tie, and a navy blazer. Well, the navy blazer stuck out not near as bad as the khaki pants did when everybody else was in black tie. And from that day forward, it's always been find out what other people wear.
yes.
So I do the same thing for Tracy because Tracy, yes, she she dresses great, looks great all the time, but she doesn't want to be going in to an event that the attire is well enough, but it's not the right attire.
Right.
But that's the
Right.
other thing is we've got 3 events that I would, and actually, yeah, Dancing with the Stars, Cattle Barons, and then maybe Belting with the Boys. It's a little bit different, but I mean, but those 2, it always blows my mind on what I call it the proms of Abilene. What people decide to wear. And I always go back to this question with some of the ones that I see wearing, guys and girls. It's not just a girl thing. Like, what outfit got second? Because you didn't choose that one from the get-go. You had choices. And something lost to that outfit.
I feel attacked right now. I'm like, we're gonna have to ask him. Like, have I ever been in this?
No.
Okay,
I would tell you, or I would at least ask Josh.
Yeah, you're just gonna talk about me.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm gonna talk about you. I'm gonna do this to your
Yeah.
face like Angel Reese, but it does crack me up because, and you mentioned it. When somebody says, what do you wearing to Dance with the Stars? You're going to see everything from a tux, a suit, to jeans and a jacket and boots, to the dress could be a volleyball outfit, to the dress could be a prom gown, and everything in between.
Well, and that's true. And so I guess the general point, and you mentioned like wearing shorts to church, and I'm sorry to offend anyone out there that's like, that offends me. So I heard this week that just because you're offended doesn't mean that you're right. But in this case, I'm right. You should not wear shorts to church. So check yourself before you wreck yourself. But in general, my thing is like, if you're gonna be part of an event, you do need to make sure you convey a dress code. So it takes that question away. Secondary to that is, if you are going to an event, especially one that has been, people have put time and effort and great links to make this event great, wear the proper attire. If it says it's a suit and tie type thing, like,
or black and white.
Yeah, like
party.
just like buck it up and do it. Like, because there's a lot of people who are like, well, I don't even know, I'm not wearing a tie. Like, suck it up. Like, you're going to the event, wear the tie. Like, it's just like, because there's so much of you said it, but the shorts to church is like the pinnacle of that for me. Like, we're dumbed down so much that now people think that they don't have to dress up when they go to like what should be a dressy occasion, and that just bothers me. And because you're like, it goes back to
that'll be a very traditional thing for you, and there's a lot of people out there that.
And see, it doesn't bother me. Obviously, I go to Beltway, so there is a lot of different outfits at Beltway. We've got the church pew divas. We've got people wearing shorts. My own husband has worn a nice polo tucked in belt, like probably looks like he's going to the golf course to church.
Right.
That is just, yeah. So I'm like, Clay is being attacked right now, but but that's kind of in our congregation, that's normal.
And I don't disagree that it is normal.
Right.
I'm just frustrated by the fact that became normal.
Yes, and it has, and I will say, yeah, but maybe y'all's churches, somebody would not ever even think that was appropriate or allowed.
Oh,
so.
It's all over. But dress
There's
is
somebody who
important.
wore a cap in the church the other day, and I almost walked over and knocked it off their head. But I thought that was not.
Yeah, I think we've just kind of gotten away from what a traditional Sunday best is.
Yeah,
and it
but I think it
changes.
is trickled down to
Absolutely.
just people wearing their pajamas in public, which I'm just like,
Right.
what?
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're wearing fuzzy slippers.
So be on the lookout of what you're wearing
People
when you head out this week. But I hope you have a great Easter weekend. When we come back, we're going to wrap up with some baseball and get ready for Easter.
Hello, Abilene.
It really does bother me when people that just like will go to the black tie event, and there's like boots and jeans, and
I've actually made that mistake one time at a chamber banquet years ago. I think the invite said something like black and yes, baby, like black and white. And it was one of those things. I talked to some of the chamber staff, and they're like, "Well, it doesn't matter. Like, it's fine, whatever." So I didn't take it literally. So I'm literally wearing like a bright turquoise dress, and there were other people in color. There were other people in color, but I mean, not a lot. Like oh my gosh, I didn't mean it like that, but like red, blues. And then I remember Lynn was like, "Oh, you just," what did he say? Like, "You just marched to your own drum." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You're supposed to wear," he was like, "You're supposed to be wearing it in black and white." And I was like, "Oh." I was like, I didn't take that like literally because I talked to some of the chamber staff and they said it wasn't a big deal. Right. And now I'm like, crap. But I wasn't doing it to be like, I'm not doing that. It was more of like, oh, well, they said it didn't really matter. I've learned this one 7 times. And I didn't. I just literally was like, oh, it's not a big deal. Right. I think it probably looked like I felt that way, but I didn't. I was on the inside. You were
Yeah.
You probably were there.
I probably was there.
It was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, but yeah, no, it wasn't because I thought I was better. It was because I was like, oh, it's not a big deal. And then I got there and was like, it was kind of a big deal. I wasn't the only one wearing a bright color, but
I've heard people say, well, you know, I don't even own a suit. Well, everybody should own one suit.
yes, exactly.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, not to be pretentious, but
No,
you can go to J.C. Penney's and get one for $100. You know.
There's probably some at Goodwill.
Yeah,
well, and
yeah.
I'm pretty sure Michael Strahan has a line at JCPenney's, like a fursuit. So I'm not even kidding. I think it's his line, and they're actually really nice.
That's where like my tux is. I mean, it's
That-
a black suit
Clay
with
has
like
the same
multiple
thing from
buttons.
Penny's.
It's a J.C. Penney
Yep.
suit. Like it's like
And they have some cool
one of the
jackets.
cheapest suits.
Yes, yeah, Clay does too, because he doesn't need
You know,
anything
kind of that
super
more shimmery
formal.
black. You know.
Yeah, he doesn't need anything super formal, but something that we can go to these events upon, you know, the invite. You also don't want to have it in your closet. You're like, okay, somebody invite me, and then you know, you never go. I finally got the invite.
I asked my closet has 50 ties and 11 suits and 6 or
Come on,
7
Jason
sport
Day.
clothes, and I did that for
Yeah,
random.
yeah.
Y'all know who William
Roland
Lee?
was on a sport coat last night. He was cold.
Yeah, he couldn't stay long, he said, but that was nice. It was nice that a lot of our sponsors came out, and like I said, I just thought when Moy walked in, I just loved that
All right.
they
I know
had
I know you wanted to swat it, but no, I'm just
Not if
curious.
I was. And they're like, no.
Oh,
If I had
That's it.
swatted it, at least you could have claimed it might
there,
on
2
it.
out of 3.
Floated a bit on you.
Yeah. You almost hit the second trash can,
That's the one I was trying to hit.
but you suck again. Yeah,
No.
you suck again. Yeah, so Caleb, the guy that told you guys y'all were number 1, huge golf fan. Like he's golfed at courses all over the freaking place.
Yeah.
Huge. And so I think whenever we were talking about Brooks,
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
he was like, because he can't stand him.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack as we head into Paradise City. And very fitting, Jesus on the cross told the thief when he asked basically, believe in who Jesus was, you will see me in paradise. And so for this weekend, Easter is a big weekend for us and how life can be changed. And so excited about Easter. I hope you've got great plans with family and church, and whether it's shorts or not. For Misty, yes.
Better not be
Jesus
short.
still loves y'all.
Jesus
With
loves
your
you, but I
shorts
don't.
on.
Josh loves
Clay,
you, but
Jesus
he's
loves
got
you.
issues. But it is Easter weekend, and some of that comes with a good Friday afternoon game, Josh. The Texas Rangers 4-2 after a week of baseball.
Stroman and Evaldi today, 1:05 p.m.
What's
Tune
that?
in. Stroman versus Evaldi. It should be a good matchup.
Well, and it was interesting. Interleague play is such a good thing for baseball. It's kind of like it's no longer, you don't really need a 1 to dial a phone number anymore because of cell phones. And it's kind of what interleague play. The only time you would get interleague play was the World Series. And now that it's here, it's good. And the Rangers heading to Wrigley Field, Emily Jones said it's the first time she's been there to call a game. And so
With the new balanced schedule where you play everybody every year, as Rangers fans, you're going to get to see all the other stadiums. You'll
Very cool,
Yeah.
yeah. It's exciting to be a Rangers fan right now. They're making some good changes,
Well,
and I think it's going to be an exciting year.
And it's how long can we keep it going? How long? And you mentioned it. If we have a good enough team to be competitive, where you're trying to watch the Rangers and the Cowboys on the same Sunday, that's going to be where I do feel like the money that's been spent, the name recognition. I mean, obviously, when you spend money, the names come with
Right.
it. The fact that you do have a Seager and a Simeon and a DeGrom.
Yeah.
And now that you got a young kid like Young.
Josh Young, who is was on the watch list for Rookie of the Year, and he's not disappointing so far. Obviously, it's 1 week out of a long season, but that is the sports mecca for me. You talk about the Masters and things like that. It's watching a September baseball game, and while the Cowboys are and you're worried about both, that is my
that's your spot.
Yes.
That's your Masters March Madness.
Yes, and I do like just that being all that going on. If you're even when the Cowboys the Rangers aren't really that good. Like a few years ago, I was at a Sunday baseball game that the Cowboys were playing. I believe the night game on that Sunday. So just that that Texas Live, and that was still at the old ballpark, but Texas Live had been built back there, and it was just like it was nuts.
The energy around there, and I can't imagine what the energy was like with the Ranger game that you were at, Taylor Swift happening over there.
Oh, gosh,
I mean, that in itself, you want to talk about sports life and everything in between, what Taylor Swift has accomplished over the last.
She accomplished making hotel rooms more expensive.
I mean, yeah, you may not like her, but she is doing all the things. I mean, she puts on, obviously I wasn't there, but just talking to friends, like the craziest show, all the outfit changes. Yeah, you can't diminish what she's doing for sure, even if you're not a fan. It's absolutely insane.
Oh, Ed, they said the amount of money that she is estimated to make from this tour is $877 million. And that's not counting buying the merch, buying the I'm not gonna say about CDs anymore, but the merchandise that you buy, you'd have to have.
You gotta get a T-shirt, go to a concert.
Yep.
True, that is a true story. But you mentioned that area down there with so much going on is a great place, and it's even probably fun if you can't get a ticket and you don't to watch the game there. Now you might be a little envious of not being in the stadium to watch a baseball game. And obviously the football ticket's a lot more expensive. But if you're there, it's such a good little area. And these stadiums are starting to do that and realize, hey, if we'll build it, they're going to come. Very similar. They do it at Atlanta. They got a place like that. And, of course, Texas Live is really taking it to
and they're
another
building
level.
all kinds of more things down there.
It's a very neat area.
But what I think is interesting, Major League Baseball does some weird stuff when it comes to their scheduling. So the Rangers home, and then they get Chicago on the road for 3. Then they come back home to play Kansas City for 3, Houston, and then back to Kansas City. It's like, hey guys, good to see you again. I'm going to leave my stuff here. You good with that?
I have wondered how that. I've never.
Super
I
weird.
think that's something I would have looked into at some point. How they actually make the schedule. I mean, they have to play each team this amount of times. Division teams this many times, American League teams this many times, National League teams this many times. But then how do you put that all in? I think about that with doing the
logistics of that
with
would be
all
crazy.
The teams and
there's
30 teams
flights,
and trying
hotels.
to
and that's why George Costanza's job as the travel secretary at Seinfeld was hard. You wanted to be sure to get the right hotel,
right?
And hopefully Taylor Swift isn't in town. Like that was probably expensive hotels for the would have been the Phillies.
The Phillies,
week.
yeah.
Hope they could afford the hotel rooms.
Ugh, I don't know.
Could they have found one? That might have been the hard part. Sorry, guys, you're gonna have to stay in Fort Worth.
I wondered if that Texas Live, Lowe's Live hotel that's part of the whole complex. I wonder if they just stay there and just go.
Well, because we joke about it, but no different than these guys that are playing in Augusta. If you're going to Augusta this week and you're at the Masters, you had to find a hotel and you had to find a place to stay. Those guys aren't any different. Now they got better connections. But you still, if you're the Phillies, you got to find a place to stay. Obviously, you're probably eating in the hotel and doing that. And because with baseball, you are there for 3 days. Football, you stay there that night, boom, and after the game, you fly out. But I do think, and we joke about the travel secretary that George Costanza was on.
Well, that is a real job.
No, but all the logistics of getting.
That could be very challenging.
Getting an equipment, obviously, you have a team charter, so that's not a problem on the flight. But hotels and organizing all that.
And all the players, this is interesting. They make league minimum. I think is $750,000, and they still get a per diem. Like you went on a business trip. like I've heard, I can't remember what that number is, but they literally get handed an envelope, like here's your money for today, like.
I think I'm going to save it and buy
Well,
something.
that's
Yes,
I've read some
exactly.
funny things that like they the people will just eat the food that's in the clubhouse and not spend their money. Like some of them are like, even though they're making that much money, they're still that cheap.
They're fruit.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
hey,
That's how you can retire
Yeah.
at 29 if you want to, kind of like Tyreek Hill. Hey, appreciate everybody joining us this morning for the Hodge Pack Sports Life and everything in between. Don't forget to go subscribe, download, rate, review the podcast. Check us out on Facebook Live, also our YouTube channel as well. Be on the lookout on the way for you to win Got Your Number, the book by Mike Greenberg. Again, thank you to Justin Jarrett. Thank you to Kyle with Mulligans last night. And of course, shout out to Greeny for joining us this morning as well. Enjoy the Masters. Have a great Easter. Find the Easter egg with the money in it. We'll see you next week.